It's hot out here. Do I want to shut the fan off so I can do this video, or do I want to just say screw it and go about my business? All right, we'll make it quick. It is 100 plus in the shop today. Very, very warm day, but I'm out here getting the job done. We are back on the 32 Ford. Yay! Still waiting for some parts to come in on the Cobra. If you remember right, the mounting system I was going to use for the horn, parts came in today. They were the wrong size, so we're going to have to go to something else. I've got new parts on the way and sending those back. But I have been busy on the 32 Ford today. And I know the last video that showed me doing a bunch of wiring was rather dull, so I'm just going to walk you through what I've already done this time. This will make for a shorter video, but if you want to see how I do wiring, consult the Cobra video. But let's take a look. Okay, having a look at the gauges that I'm doing here, this is a Stewart Warner Nostalgia Series. It is 2 gauges, 3-in-1. On this one, I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but on this one you've got speedometer, oil pressure, and coolant temperature. This one you've got voltmeter, fuel, and the tachometer. What I've done today is I have started getting the preliminary work done on these. Now what you're going to notice on these gauges is they both use the same 6-pin connectors for both gauges. What that means is I'm going to have some wires that aren't used, some that are. Take, for example, thank goodness for instructions, because what we can do is you can take a look at these right here, and this is the wiring schematic right here. Now I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on there because it's really, really small lettering, but basically about half the connections are used and half are not. Now I've already got all but a few of the connectors left to do. All of the connectors are done with the exception of 1 or 2. I've got power run, I've got senders run, and I've got the ground run. There are 2 connectors I've got left to do. One of them is this blue wire right here, or this green wire, whatever you want to call it. According to our schematic on that particular one, and that is on the other pin, that one is going to be for the speedometer signal. Now I have something special planned for this one. The speedometer signal is tied into the back of the transmission. This being an older Ford C4 automatic, 3-speed automatic, that right there is where it normally ties in. As you can see, I've got it blocked off. Now why do you think I have that blocked off? Well, it's quite simple. What I've got planned is to go the same route that I went on the Cobra, in that I'm not going to be using the standard speedometer gear and cable run up to the dash, because it's a really big pain to get the right gearing, get the right number of teeth, things of that nature, the right cable, etc. So what I've decided to do is I contacted Stewart Warner Gauges, who are the people who make the gauges for this car, and they recommended this sender for that. That is GPS. It will turn the speedometer into a GPS speedometer, the same technology I'm using in the Cobra. That'll make it much easier to program, much easier to work, and it'll be more accurate. So I did go that route, though that sender is expensive. It's about $200, but it is on the way. It'll be here probably by the end of the week, and of course I will connect that up once the once that has come in. Now what else have I done? One note I wanted to add, the gauging wiring looks intimidating because it's a lot of wires all over the place, but the important thing to remember is gauges are actually quite simple. Usually what you have running a gauge panel is you've got a hot powering the gauges, you've got a grounding the gauges, you've got a light switch going to the gauges to light up the lights of them, and you have a sender wire going to each one of them, temp sender going to the temp, oil sender going to the oil, etc. So it's really basic. It's just figuring out which wire goes where. Quite simple. The vast majority of connections under the hood are done. I do have a few connections here if I can see here and see what these go to. Let's take a look. These are really, okay, that's for the cooling fan relay. And this one right here may be also for the cooling fan relay. I'm not sure. Here we go. Let's see. Front lights section. Well, the problem with this painless system that I've seen is it's difficult to read the actual wiring labeling. Front light section. This is the horn. And that will go to this horn connection, and we'll go back into the car and hook up to a button I have on the dash for the horn button. Now, as you can see, I've already got all my senders hooked up. I've got my relay hooked up for the electric fan, for the radiator. This car having air conditioning, I've still got 1 or 2 connections left to do on this. This is the trinary switch that operates the AC. I've already got wiring gone to the alternators. You can see the battery cables are run. I've got my ground strap connected, and all of that is connected as well. I have not cleaned up this yet, but I've got some connections here. This, for example, is the ground for the electric choke on the carburetor. Yes, we are going with a carburetor on this particular one. And this right here, of course, is the hot going back to the battery connection on this breaker down here to power the fans on that relay. I'm running a separate harness on the electric fan on this particular car. Now, of course, in the back, I've got a little bit of work left to do, a little bit of cleanup, but I've already got the tail lights hooked up. Headlights are hooked up as well, signal lights are hooked up, and I've got a little bit left to clean up back here, but for the most part, these are good to go as well. The battery has been mounted, and I've got a little bit of sorting to do. Some of this is third brake light, which I can connect. I'm going to be using a third brake light in the back window. Other things have already been connected, so I've got to sort all that out. So I'm just now getting back into the groove of wiring this car. I was about halfway finished. I've still got to do the signal lights. Now, the signal lights are a little bit complicated on this. Of course, you've got the signal light built into the tail light. You've got a signal light in my mirrors. You've got a signal light on the front that is mounted in the headlights. And I'm going to be drilling holes in my dash and putting LEDs to have the signal lights and the high beam indicator on the dash. So that is what I'm going to be tackling next as far as the dash wiring goes. I also have to run up the windshield wiper connectors. You can see that right there. It's a 1-speed motor, very basic system. What you can do is I can hook up a positive and negative power to that, leave it on, and then run it through a switch on the dashboard to allow me to turn that on remotely. So those are the plans. This is a very quick video, but as you can see, progressively I'm getting sweatier and sweatier. As I said, it's very hot in here, and I did turn my fan off so we can be heard. But the plan is to keep grinding on the 32, although I may take a couple of days off because it's supposed to cool down later in the week, and I am waiting on additional supplies and parts. I ran out of the solderless butt connectors today, so I've got to get some more of those. Those will be here Thursday with the replacement mount for the horn that I'm going to be using on the Cobra. That will do it for this video. Stay tuned for more. We've got more coming. I appreciate you joining me today.